What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my podcast. Today I have a panel full of couples, and today we're going to be talking about common things that people deal with in relationships. We have a few questions, but it's going to be more so an open discussion. So before we get started, I want to give the panelists an opportunity to introduce themselves.
How's everyone doing? My name is David.
Hey everybody, my name is Chris.
What's going on, guys? My name is Valerie.
And like I said, today we're going to be talking about couple things. And the reason why I wanted to have this specific episode with couples is because I feel like nowadays, I don't feel like committed relationships is as common as it used to be. I feel like we're in a very, what word can I use? Like an entanglement type of society now. Like a lot of people, especially within our generation, they don't really value committed relationships. And the couples that I have here, well, Dave's girlfriend is not here, but he's going to be speaking on their behalf. And the reason why I have them here is because they've been together for a while, and I trust that, you know, anything that they have to say on the topics that we're going to be talking about it holds some type of weight. So before we get started, y'all know I like to do icebreakers. So the first question that I want for everybody to answer is, do you believe that committed relationships these days have gone out of style? Why or why not? We'll start with you, Dave.
I will say I believe committed relationships have gone out of style. I believe a lot of it has to do with social media and music as well. I feel like a lot of the music is talking about portraying living a certain lifestyle, and everyone doesn't want to be in a relationship because of that. That's my opinion.
I can definitely agree with that statement. Not only that, I feel like it's also easier for guys not to commit because it's so easy to, do the situational things.
So I'm going to say I will agree with you guys. Definitely like different social media apps or different dating apps as well kind of make it very easy for you to just have like an entanglement, or just have a situationship, and it's pretty easy to kind of fall into that lust. So like having a relationship, it's more rewarding to have one just because it's kind of like you can actually hunker down with somebody and say, hey, we're actually doing something. But is it easy? Not at all, because it's so easy to do everything else now.
I'm actually glad that you brought that up because first I want to touch on what Dave was speaking about as far as the music and social media. I don't think that a lot of people within this generation realize the effect that music has on the choices that we make. So like for an example, I think we were mentioning this in the single conversation we had last week. But these songs, like city girl songs, like you have women who are completely fine with being, secondary to a man. Like he has a girlfriend already. They fine with being a side chick. You have the dudes that's fine with the sneaky links and stuff like that. We're in a very like sneaky, toxic entanglement type of age these days. So I do agree that music and social media has a lot to do with that. And then just to touch on what Chris was just saying, I think as far as the reward of being in a relationship, I think a lot of people in situationships are reaping the benefits of getting these relationship type of things. For an example, like, the sneaky links, the Netflix and chilling with no commitment. I mean, to each his own. There are some people who are completely fine with, just linking, doing whatever, and that's it. More power to them. But because this is a couples segment, we're going to be speaking more towards the people who are interested and are looking towards being in committed relationships. I think that a lot of people are reaping the benefits for like the relationship benefits in like the regular talking stage. And I think that's why the value has been sucked out of, well, what's the point of being in a relationship? What's the point of being in a relationship and then looking towards getting married at some point? Did you have something you wanted to add to that?
There's just one point to go against what you said. You said before that it's men that are the reason as to why people do not want to get into relationships now because of music.
Preach.
I do have to say it's not only men. Now you can see in this day and age that women are also doing the same thing that men do. Honestly, the music is saying for girls to be bad girls, be bosses, uh, you know, mess with a guy for his money, you know, a lot of things. So I just want to say it's everybody. I wouldn't say it's just one gender.
I apologize. Let me rephrase myself. When I said men, I meant in term not just the music, because yes, definitely we're listening to Meg Thee Stallion, Sugar Baby, you know, like talking about songs where, you know, you don't want nobody unless they got money, you know. But what I meant was that men are okay with, okay, I have plenty of time to live and just have situationships. And, you know, I'll find a wife later on, as opposed to girls. Yes, they do like to do the things the music say, but, you know, there's a lot of times that girls are more willing to be in relationships. We're kind of waiting on the man's lead to what do you guys have to say about that?
No, so to that point though, like as far as, I guess this can tie into what we're about to talk about. When it does come down to actually getting into a relationship, the first question I have is it on specifically the guy to initiate, like, okay, we're gonna get together? Like, is it up to a specific party, or is it supposed to be mutual? Like, how do, because I feel like, to your point, I don't know if this is what you were getting at, but I feel like women, we like to feel like, okay, he pursued me. He came to me because he wanted to be with me. While I do agree that it should be mutual, I feel like the whole, you know, the guy doing the pursuing, a lot of that has gone out of style, because not to say that women can't do that, not to say that women shouldn't be the one pursuing, but like, I don't know, me, I like to feel like, okay, you came to me, and I don't know, it just.
No, I definitely agree. I always tell Chris, like, I suck at bagging because, like, I've never bagged a guy. Like, so the thing is, it's like, I'm going to tell you what my intentions are once we start talking. So it's up to you if you want to continue on and you agree with my intentions, and it's up to you to leave. I would prefer the person to be real and just say, hey, you know, I don't agree with your intentions, and I'd rather just walk away. But not a lot of men are real and want to say that.
So what I can definitely say is that it's definitely a man and woman thing. Because if you think about it, it's a two-way street, right? So just like Val said, you know, like we've had this conversation before. She's never bagged a guy, like, ever in her life, right? But the funny thing is, like, growing up, I was like overweight, so like I didn't have all the attention in the world, so a girl never really gave all the attention to me. And it's like, as I started getting into a relationship and like got like lost weight and, you know, got more confidence, I started getting more attention. I'm like, oh, so this is what it was supposed to feel like. But now it's like I can't do anything with this. So it's kind of like you have to be, you know, a good boy. But the thing is, though, you start to see that it's not just always the men doing this. It's always sometimes the females too, because at the end of the day, everybody wants to have their cake and eat it too. You know, like sometimes they ask the question, you know, if you can get away with something and nobody will ever find out, would you do it? You know, everybody can answer that question differently, but it's just the fact of if you feel as though that it's worth it and you do it, then that's on you. But at the end of the day, if it's not worth it, or the person that you're with is like worth everything in the book, then you know what your answer should be at the end of the day.
So you're saying, so all of that in a nutshell, you feel like it should be on both parties to decide, like, okay, we're intentionally dating to be together, and then anything after that we'll get to that when it comes.
Yeah, absolutely. Just because when you really think, when it comes down to it, it's like this, okay? If I tell you my full intentions as a man, right? Sometimes I could tell you exactly what I feel, but sometimes, like, a female may have this happen to them 10 or 20 times a day, from different men, right? And sometimes, you know, that guy could be lying. So you may think that, you know what, he probably just wants something, and then you're just like, don't even pay no mind to him. But at the end of the day, it's like, if you want him to keep like being persistent and always talking to you and like just keep going at it, at the end of the day, he may not like that, just because it's like, that's not like, I'm not going to be here all the time. And if you're not going to like answer me the first time, I'll probably hit somebody else up who will. So it's like, you're living in an age where it's competition. So I would definitely say it's a back and forth thing, because if a man doesn't tell you his full intentions and the girl doesn't tell you the full intentions, then nobody really knows what they want.
I agree. I believe that it's on both the man and the female. Personally, I believe what you guys said was correct. I do believe that in the start of a relationship, the intentions, the clarification, communication has to be there on what you guys want out of the relationship. Whether it's just going to be something for fun, or whether it's going to be, something that's going to progress into the next level. And I think that's just what it all comes down to. I feel like if a woman is interested in a man, she should show it. If a guy is interested in a female, he should show it. Or if a guy is interested in a man, either way, it doesn't matter. If you're interested in someone, you should show it. And if the person also likes you and also agrees with what you have in store for the future, then you guys will clash well together. So that's my opinion.
So to that point, do you guys think that in the beginning stages, do you think that you have to play games to get to that point where you finally win? I'm gonna do air quotes, to the point where you finally win that person over. Like, for an example, for me and my boyfriend, when we got together, we knew each other for some years, but we were talking for a few months before we actually decided to be together officially. And in the beginning stages, it wasn't that I was like playing hard to get, but in a way I kind of was, to let him know, like, okay, listen, if you really want to be with me, like, you're going to have to prove it to me. And I don't want to say that I was like putting him through hell. I was also just like sort of in that selfish stage of my life. So I didn't really feel like I wanted to really give anybody my time, not him specifically, but just anybody my time. But in the beginning, I feel like it was sort of like a gameplay, kind of like, okay, you want my time? Like, what are you going to do for my time? Like, sort of like that. So do you feel like, do you feel like it was like that with you and your girlfriend in the beginning?
No, I don't feel it was that way. For me and my girlfriend, we knew each other for 2 years before we started dating. We were friends. We always just, joked around with each other. And that was that. And then out of nowhere, we just randomly started texting each other like every single day for like about 2.5 months. So we were texting nonstop over and over. I don't feel like she was trying to make me chase her, and I wasn't giving off that impression either. I was just interested in her, and I believe that she was interested in me. And then eventually, we both shared our feelings for each other, and then so we got together.
Same. I knew Chris since I was about 19, and we reconnected when I was about 24. I'm 1 year older than him.
She loves saying that, by the way.
So, we were friends. We had a time period that we didn't talk for a good minute because we were both in relationships. But it's not like we had any bad blood towards each other. We just hadn't seen each other in so long. And one day I seen him pick up a little girl from my summer camp, and I'm just like, Chris. And it was like the same energy, like we never left. And when we started talking, like the thing about, just like you, Amber, I was so over guys. Like in my last situation, I was cheated on. So I was like, I'm not putting in any effort. Like if a guy wants me, he's going to pursue me. I don't have to text him. Not saying I didn't want to do those things, but I was just saying like, he's going to do those things regardless. And when Chris came into the picture, he did all those things without me even asking. And I was just like, wow, like this guy really likes me. Like he really wants to talk to me. How about you?
Keep going, girl. Keep going. I like this segment. This is a good segment. Just like what Amber said though, like games, like, I don't play no games. We don't play no Xbox, no PlayStation. This ain't no games over here, you know what I'm saying? But just in general though, like the thing is, if you view it as a game, like in that beginning stage of like that cat and mouse, you're trying to chase somebody, then at that point, then that's the problem. I think deep down what it needs to come down is that if you like somebody, you're just going to do things for them, like no matter what. Like I would end up texting this girl every day, and the conversations would be super long all the time. We would end up being on the phone together at nighttime, like fall asleep with like it was just genuine. So the thing is, it's like, deep down when you're really like falling for somebody, it's the problem when like you're gonna hide or neglect those feelings because like you don't want to fall into that, and then you want to be what society tells you to be. But at the end of the day, if you really like trust yourself and you know like what this person's true intentions are, like which I knew, you just go ahead and you pursue that. So sometimes there is a game there, but if you know deep down what you want, it's not really a game.
So while you guys are on the topic and you guys are on the floor, how long have you been together?
So we've been together for 2 years, and it'll be 2 years and 2 months, in a couple of days on my birthday. So, yeah. So our anniversary is December 22nd. So it will be 2 years, in a couple of days. Yeah.
Is that right, Val? Because you know the guys mess up sometimes.
Nah, he's on point. He got it. 2 years, 2 months.
Dave, how long have you and your girlfriend been together?
I've been with my girlfriend for 8 years and 7 months. So, July 2nd, 2012.
Woo!
So, yeah, started off in high school. Yep.
All right, so being as though you and your girlfriend have been together for so long, I think that specifically because you guys were together since high school, I know that there was like a bunch of different transitions that you guys had to go through. Was there any moments where you felt like you guys needed to take a break just because you guys maybe were like growing into yourselves now? Like, did you have any issues like that?
Yeah, we had those issues, but I will take full responsibility. It was all my fault. Yeah, we went through that period, where we wanted to, well, me personally, I just wanted to, figure out who I was in life and what I truly wanted out of life. So we had a little patch where, we weren't fully together, but that was all on my fault. And then after I saw I was out there in the world and I knew who I was, I knew that I wanted her. And, yeah, we've been together ever since, so.
I like that point that you just made about you knowing who you were in a relationship, because I think that so for an example, I feel like dating in your 20s is way different from dating in like high school, specifically because you get a little more of a taste of the real world. I feel like when you're in a relationship that young, you guys are both young, so it's like you haven't really experienced life yet, but that transition, like going into college and stuff, like that could be difficult because you guys are both learning yourself and stuff like that. And I believe that what's the saying, that if it's meant for you, it'll come back? Like, I don't know the saying. You guys know what I'm saying though. Yeah, if it's meant to be, it'll find its way back to you. And I think that is basically what happened with you two. I do think, and Val, you gotta back me up on this, I think that when stuff like that happens, though, it is more so on the man, because women, we mature a lot faster than guys. So it's like, I'm not saying in high school we have everything figured out, but I feel like for the most part, we usually have an idea. Like when we're young, we have an idea of, if we want to be married, like what kind of guy we want to be with, the type of things that he'll do for us. It's not until you get to like a certain age where you start to think like, okay, maybe this thing doesn't matter as much as I thought it did before, or maybe this quality or these physical characteristics that I thought I wanted, I probably don't need if this can compensate for that. Like, what do you think?
No, I could definitely agree because, when we're young, it's just like maybe it's the physique, maybe it's just the fun time or whatever the case may be. But definitely as we get older, we realize like we need somebody that can communicate, obviously, somebody that can show their affection, obviously, or at least talk about their feelings. So, or just in general, we definitely look for a family man that can be the father of our kids one day. So yeah, girls know what they want when they're looking for a man. Well, not looking, but waiting for that man to come.
Definitely, it's usually on the guy, just because like you said, like we kind of like mature a little slower than the females, you can say. There's a lot of things that like I guess men just think about, just because sometimes like we have a lot of guy friends, and having a lot of guy friends, like they want to have their phase, they go out, they drink, they come outside, have fun, and you know what they're doing out there, what's out there. So it's like is what's out there more important than what's in here? So it's like sometimes you do have a little like break in that in those moments where you have to kind of reassess and figure out what exactly do you want, just because it's like a lifetime of marriage, that's commitment. And like, like this girl and like, me, like myself, I don't want to do divorce. Like my parents, they haven't been divorced. She's like, I don't know if it's like too personal, but like she's been through that. She doesn't want to see that, so it's like, knowing that for her is kind of like, even before I put a ring on her finger, I'd rather know exactly like this is what we're gonna do, and like I'm not ashamed of like making sure that decision, because like a lifetime is a lifetime. So it's like you have to like be mature. It can hurt even if you're gonna take a break, or it may feel sad in the moment. But like now look at it like with you guys, like everything kind of like worked out for the best. It maybe in that moment it didn't work. It was like kind of like the grind, but now it's like look how far we come. So sometimes you need that little break, that little reassessment, to like figure out exactly what you want.
Thank you.
All right, so what did I want to touch on? All right, so you mentioned something about outside influences like friends, and you didn't mention family, but I want to get into that too. Do you guys allow? What way do I want to ask this? Do you allow for outside influences to affect your relationship? For an example, like if you and your partner gets into a disagreement, I know certain times, and y'all probably see it too on social media, where there's always that one person, you could tell they're beefing with their significant other because they're posting everything on social media. They're posting in subliminal messages. Like they're talking to, every time they break up, they posting like, oh, I'm single. What's your take on that? I think that's the question I want to ask.
So what's one thing that we don't do? It's like we kind of keep everything in house, because one, it's like social media is kind of like whatever you portray it to be. So if you put your own dirty laundry out there, you're doing that yourself. So everyone now knows, hey, this is what's going on in my house. It's like, if there's anything ever going on internally, it's something that we kind of like try to figure out, like, on our own. And it's something that, you shouldn't be sharing that with the world. That's kind of personal. But at the same time, if sometimes people think of it like we share the good times, why not share the bad? And sometimes that's just how like.
It's not everybody's business.
Exactly. But we're living in a social media like day and age where people post everything. Like, I mean, everything.
You take
so
the pictures down, people think y'all broke up.
Mm-hmm.
That is so annoying.
It's complicated, you know
That
what I'm
is
saying?
so
Like
annoying.
everybody knows there's always something going on, like in that household. Everybody knows. Like as soon as you see like the one photos go down, yep, she's single again. You know what I'm saying? It's my time. So it's just those things that like no one has to know everything.
How I feel about it, yeah, I definitely do not put my friends and my family in my personal business. I've done that before, and that just gives them the open door to pick sides. And I'm not gonna let nobody talk junk about my man. Like, you're not about to talk about my man.
Period.
So I just keep it to myself. As far as social media, like I'm a very private person, but like he's a fitness motivator, and like he's very public since the beginning, posting me. So like I'm like, okay, cool, I could post you too. Even if we did break up, nobody would know. Like them pictures staying there. So
What about you, Dave?
I agree with everything you guys said. I believe outside influences can influence your relationship. As was previously said, not everyone needs to be in your relationship. The relationship is between two people, and it should stay that way. So when you have issues, as Chris said, you should work it out together and get through it. And as you said, once you start telling other people about your business, it gives them the opportunity to pick sides. And people never forget, And it's one thing if you're sharing your information on the internet, saying, oh, I broke up, or I can't stand this guy, or, forget her. And then the next week, you're back with them.
Looking stupid.
You look stupid,
Stupid.
So it's like if you're going through an issue, you should try to work it out, talk to that person, and yeah.
So I got like one quick thing. I know this is an open forum. I just had this like in the back of my mind. So like I'm thinking to myself, right? So I worked at a lot of different places, right? What do you guys think about like work husbands and work wives?
Ooh, I'm so glad.
Like
I'm sorry, y'all. I gotta start with this. I'm sorry, I gotta start with this because I bother my boyfriend about this all the time. Here's my take on it. I think that it can be like harmless depending on, like for an example, like I joke with my boyfriend about his work wife. She's married. She has a husband. She's probably twice his age. But like I joke with him about it. I don't get too like offended by it. One, because I'm very secure, not just in my relationship, but within myself. So I know if he gonna do something stupid, like that's on him. But at the end of the day, like I said, this woman is twice her age. I mean, twice his age. And like she brings him lunch sometimes, and he tells me about it. He be like, you know, like she brings him lunch or whatever, and I'm just like, you can't get your own food. You can't like. What is this about? And in the beginning I felt some kind of way, but I think maybe it's just because like I know this lady. I don't know. But if it was a different scenario and it was like somebody that was my age, hell no. I'm sorry, just no.
So she's a little younger, it'd be a little different.
No, I don't, because here's the thing. Depending on if it's a full-time job or a part-time job, if you're working a full-time job and you have a work wife or a work husband, you're seeing them more than you're seeing me, more 9 times out of 10. So if that's the case, I feel like just that's opening the door. If you feel like the conversations y'all are having or what you're doing is not something you would do with me there, I feel it's a problem. If whatever you're doing, you know you wouldn't do if I was there, or you agreeing to go out for lunch or whatever, if you knew that you wouldn't agree if I was there, then I think it's a problem.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not with it. That's it. I'm not with it.
Yeah, no, I don't like girls playing too close to my man, but I like, he's, like I said, he's a trainer, so like he's around girls all the time, so I depend on him to like set that boundary and standard, like, hey, I got a girlfriend. And it was kind of funny because there was definitely a time that he did that. You want to tell the story?
You had a work wife?
No.
Nah, it was like a boot camp, and then this girl was flirting with him right in front of me, but they didn't even know I was there. Like,
You handled the situation though, Chris. No.
No comments. No.
How you get thrown under the bus on your own question, Chris?
I was just like, yo, she's gonna bring this up. This is funny. She said something like crazy. She said something wild, like, you know, like I can get lower than everybody. She said something wild, and I just remember her face.
Kick her out
like,
the class at that point. Like,
look,
get her out the class.
At the end of the class, I was just like standing real close behind to make sure she ain't asked for no numbers, because I was gonna set her straight at that point.
At that point, I don't know. To each his own, but no, sorry.
Honestly, it's like, I think depending on the job that you work, and like she said, like me being a trainer, it doesn't help. Like, you're always gonna be around girls who are gonna like not being like fully clothed anyway.
Yeah.
So like, that's one thing about it. Like, and I said this before on like one of our podcasts, that in my last relationship, I had somebody who was very insecure, and like she didn't want me to train females at all. So I was like, I can't make money if I don't train females. That's like 85% of my people that train. So I'm gonna have to figure that out somehow. So when we were able to be with each other, the first question that I had to ask her was, how do you feel about me training? She's like, if it's your money and it's your business and you don't disrespect me, then I don't care. I'm not going to like step in front of that. So I said, all right, perfect. As long as we're good on that, we're good. So we train together. Sometimes we work out together. A lot of my clients, like, she knows already. And like, usually it does, like, they know her and they respect her. So it's kind of like, it's funny because sometimes even when we're working out, like, they'll ask her questions like, oh, is it okay if Chris and I do this? And she'll just be like, hey, such and such text me, like, you know, like, I don't know why.
Yeah.
That was kind of
weird.
think
to that point, they get into in your business at that point.
No, I'm saying like they're doing that in a sense like as a respect,
courtesy.
as a respect, because like they respect her, like, you know, like,
like if it's like my friend or like a family member or something,
can I
like
train
that.
with him? You know, like, is that okay?
Okay.
Like, you know, they want to ask just like, you know, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. Like, they give her that courtesy, so it's like it's on that level.
I think when it's a scenario like that, like if your significant other has a job or whatever they do is more interactive with the opposite sex, I think it's up to them to just make sure that there's a boundary, that there's no lines crossed. Because like my boyfriend, he does tattoos, and you know, with tattoos, like he gets like female clients most of the time, and they get like tattoos on their butt, tattoos in between their boobs and stuff like that. But that was something he was doing before we got together. So I feel like for me to tell you, like who am I to tell you?
You can't change this profession.
Yeah, and I think it's also down to the trust. If you trust that person and you guys have already established that conversation in the beginning, then anything after that is just your assumption. You basically asking for something to happen. If the conversation is had or something happened once and you addressed it, as long as you guys are now on the same page and your partner knows, like, look, this is what makes me uncomfortable, I'm not happy with this, whatever, and there's boundaries set, I feel like you have a pretty decent relationship after that. Because us women, we can make a million scenarios in our head. So even if it don't happen, it's like just the fact that it's in our mind. And if we bring it to you, it's not because we're trying to start. It's just because, like, look, it's a concern and it's up to you to deliver. Like, look, I'm going to make sure, like, you have me, you could trust me, I'm gonna make sure that nothing stupid happens. So I think to that point, it is a matter of your significant other just making sure, one, that you guys are both on the same page and boundaries being set. That's number one. But I wanted to bring this up because it's sort of on the same topic about having friends of the opposite sex. How do y'all feel about your significant other having a best friend of the opposite sex?
I mean, I'm okay with it, and at the same time not okay with it. I feel if you're gonna have a friend of the opposite sex, like your partner should meet that person.
Yes,
your partner should definitely know who that person is
in the beginning.
It should be said in the beginning. They should meet, they should be able to conversate, they should see eye to eye, they should if your partner doesn't like that person, it's probably for a good reason. At the same time, it could be for just assuming things, but at the same time, I just feel that you have to meet them, get your own feel for the person. And then if you trust your partner, then it shouldn't be an issue.
Just to bounce off of Dave, yeah, just like he said, from the beginning, you have to meet your partner as like best friend. No new friends. Yep. I don't want to hear none of that new friend, whatever.
It's my best friend.
Yeah,
since when?
Nah, like since when?
We've been together how long?
No new friends. That's the rule.
So like she said, there's absolutely no new friends at all. However, she does have like one or two like male best friends, and when I first I was coming out of a relationship with like my ex who had like no male friends, and then when she said she had two, I said, oh, this is great, this is gonna be perfect. So like I had to meet these guys like you said, like just to make sure, like you have to always like, you gotta do the check, like you gotta do the square up, size them up, and you gotta ask them, certain questions. And as long as she told me like, listen, there's nothing that ever happened, and like that's just my friend, and that's it. The next question I always ask is like, did he friend zone him? Did he ever like you? Because deep down, like I was honest with her. I said I have a couple of female friends and best friends, and like maybe at one point in time when I was younger, I may have liked them if I was in 7th or 8th grade, like, to be honest. But at the end of the day, I'm grown now. Like, it's not that same thing anymore. So I know at one time I did. So no guy just becomes a friend out of nowhere. Sometimes guys like to just have like a little bit of attraction. All I'm saying is this: when a guy becomes a friend with a female, usually he has a certain attraction to her, to the point to at least acknowledge her and say hi. Even if he wanted something more and maybe she friends on him so early that it never happened, hey, sometimes that happens too. So it's kind of like when that situation kind of came up, I wanted to make sure that everything was squared up. And then once I was able to talk to like, the two guys, it was kind of like they all were like vetted. They're pretty good. They're cool guys. So I had no problem.
So what I wanted to follow up that question with was, what if this person that your significant other is saying is their best friend or whatever, what if there was something that went on between them, but like way back when, but then it didn't work out, or say it was like it was like a moment of weakness or something, but now they're still friends? How do y'all feel about that?
Gotta go.
What about you, Dave?
She gotta go.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Me neither.
Nah, you can't be friends anymore.
Yeah, like at that point, it's like I can't. It's like it's too close to home at that point. Just because it's like if I ever had to be at the dinner table and then like we're all eating, the back of my mind is like, what are you thinking? Yeah, like imagine if like you better go to the kitchen for something. He's like, oh, let me help you out. Like, what the hell you about to go
She
do?
good.
You know, like, yeah,
She
like, she's
good.
fine. Like, I wouldn't want him in my house around my kids. Like, nah, cause that just feels too weird. So like, either like he gotta go, or if you value, like, no, he's too good of a guy. He's too good of a friend. It's like, maybe we gotta talk at that point. But it's never been that, so I think we fine.
I don't think, just to answer that question, I don't think anybody who you've had a moment with, a situation with, an ex, I don't think that you have any business having them in your life, and not while we're together, at least. And if we're together, we here for the long term. But I feel like if you've ever had an experience like that with someone, there's no reason why y'all should still be being in contact. Like, whether it's somebody who, y'all probably, hooked up one time or twice and then just was like, oh no, it's not working out. They don't belong there. If it's an ex, definitely not. There's no reason why you should be keeping in contact with somebody who you've had that type of experience with, especially if we're together now. Because what are you holding on to?
I would definitely say that, like, I'm definitely for that, but I will definitely say that, like, the only gray area, like you said, if let's say it was a childhood friend that, like, oh, we were like boyfriend and girlfriend in like 4th or 5th grade. Listen, man, I'm not in, like, and you are growing up and, like, oh, trust me, I do not like this person. Like everybody has their reason why their friend is their friend and not anything more, So if that's the case, then it's kind of like, all right, I'm cool with that too. But once you guys are in the same bed together, then it's like, all right, everything's out the window. Okay, I can't really, like, swallow that pill. So.
I had one more question that I wanted to ask you guys, and I think that this is a good question for those who may be interested in getting into a relationship or maybe are in the very early stages of a relationship. When do you guys think that it's a good time to start discussing building? Like, as far as maybe starting a family, getting married. Is there a specific time frame that you think that conversation should come up? Because this is why I'm asking. I think that and this may tie into religion, this may tie into your standards, your tradition, but I think that there are a lot of people our age who are they're more okay with settling. I consider it settling with just living together, or maybe just having kids without knowing for a fact if they're gonna be together long term, like if they're gonna be married. So what do you guys feel about that?
I think that if you're in a relationship and pretty much to go off what you just said, I think if you're in a relationship, just boyfriend and girlfriend, and you don't see, like, you can't picture in your mind of it going further yet, or you don't know what the future is holding. Like, for example, you don't view you and your partner as going to the next level as in marriage. You shouldn't be having kids with each other. You shouldn't live with each other, because that's something that's building towards marriage, especially if you want to live with a partner. Like, if you can't see them in your future for marriage or something like that, it shouldn't happen. You should stay, in your house or with your parents' house, continue to grow with the partner, and then when the time is right, then that happens. But in terms of when do you bring up the conversation, that I do not know. I do not know for that one, because I don't want to say that some people live like in this fairy tale lifestyle. It's like, oh, once I've been dating my boyfriend or my girlfriend for like 6 months, like, oh my God, we're going to go get married. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. How many kids do you want? It's like, sometimes some people don't know what they want that soon, So it's like, you have to keep growing with the person, and then eventually, it builds somewhere, But definitely within the first year, I don't think that conversation should come up. I have to say that.
I guess I have to say I'm like really big on building myself, and like I'm just so like exact on what I want. It's like I have my next 5 years planned out and I don't even know what's gonna happen. So like I'm just like, hey, if you're not ready for marriage, then I'll just go for my PhD and I'll just do that until you're ready for marriage, because I'm not having kids until then. So like I'm just already set on like, this is how I want things to be. I don't want to just like be a woman with kids and not married, I guess, because I already lived through divorce, like Chris said. So it's like, I want that family foundation.
Yeah, and like, just knowing this girl already, like growing up, you kind of have this idea of like what you want to have. Like, all right, by the time I'm 24, 25, I want to like graduate, have this job, maybe have a kid or so, like, you know, like married, like what, like you always have this fantasy in your mind. And as you get older, that kind of changes, and also like the age changes. So if like you guys were together, like you said, like out of high school, so at that point, can't have that conversation coming out of high school talking about kids and marriage. It doesn't make any sense. When we first got together, I think I was like 23. Yeah, I was like 23 years old. She was 24. So we're a little bit older, and at that point, you know a little bit more like of what you want. And she's very detail oriented of like how she wants things done, and she plans everything out. So it's like, hey, if we're not gonna get married by this time, like she said, I get my PhD. When I have kids by this time, I'll do this. And she's always like thinking like 10 steps ahead. So it's like, to when you're in a relationship with somebody one like that, you have to kind of like either think like them, or if you have your own mindset or like how you process things as well, you want to make sure that at least it aligns within that certain time frame. So I know in the back of her mind, I know in the back of my mind what her time limits are, you could say. So I kind of keep that in the back of my mind of like what she wants, but everybody's pretty much different. So to answer the question, the timing wise, it pretty much just goes up, like it's depends on that couple, depends on their age, depends on their experiences as well. So.
And just to piggyback off of that, alignment is the key word in relationship.
Yeah.
Just alignment, because if your goals and your like what you have planned do not align with your partner, then that's a discussion that you really need to have.
I agree, because and I'm going to say also piggybacking off of what Chris just said, that it also depends on age as well, because say for an example, somebody our age, if there's somebody that's like, 24, 25 or older, who is getting into a relationship with somebody in a year, and they're like, look, like this is everything. If they have a list and they check off everything on the list, and they're like, this is a no-brainer, like why not start building towards something? I think that's up to that couple to say, you know what, like let's start moving towards something. But like what you were also saying, if it's a situation where you guys are like super young, like that conversation shouldn't be coming up. But I feel like if you're in your adult years and you guys are pretty much already in a phase of your life where it's kind of like, okay, like we're grown, so what are we doing next? I think it's feasible to maybe, I'm not gonna put a time limit on it either, because it's really just a matter of what level you guys are on a relationship. I do think I'm pretty similar with Val when it comes down to like having in my mind like just a checklist of goals that I want for myself, and as far as my partner, sharing those things, like letting him know, like, look, this is, before you even came into the picture, these were goals that I had for myself. I think that, as long as you are communicating with your partner and you guys are pretty much on the same page as far as, this is what I want, this is what I see for myself. I obviously want to be with you. So like, what are we going to be doing?
No, I just had a response to that. My response was pretty much that, everyone operates on their own time. It's not to say that someone should give up their goals and what they have in life for themselves, but I think that's where like compromise and communication comes in, because just because you have something planned for yourself and a time frame set for yourself, that may not align with the other person's their own personal time frame. It may not even be for reasons of, I'm just not married. Maybe it could be for a reason that they're not where they want to be at in life. So
that's a good point.
I believe it just all comes down to communication and compromising at that point. And true, also I can't say it has something to do with age though, because I have seen growing up that some couples in high school have married very early, within high school or a year after. So I wouldn't say age is the thing. I just think it's more so based off the couple and what they want out of each other.
Nah, I could definitely agree. Like everybody has, like every couple has their own like thing together when it comes to like that niche. So for the most part, like you said, it comes down to like those two people like in that relationship. If you want to like get married at a young age, because like you just know, then you're gonna go through that. But also the person who's 24, 25 years old, who's been through a string of relationships, they also know what they want at that point too. So depending on like exactly if you know what you want and that communication is there, then everything kind of works out at that point. So.
Agreed. Well, I hope this conversation between the couples today has been a little bit of enlightenment for you guys. So stay tuned for what's happening within the rest of this month. We have 2 more segments left. We did the singles, couples. We have a marriage segment, and then divorce segment, and then a special one all the way at the end. But before we close out, I want to give everybody an opportunity to give you guys their information.
All right, so my legal name is David, but my stage name, performer name, DJ Vibes.
DJ Vibes.
No, I'm not a stripper. I take that
DJ
back, when I said
Vibes.
stage name. At DJ_Vibes, that's VYBZ.
Instagram is Valdaze, VALDAZ, 2 E's.
Again, I'm Chris. You can follow me at CNG Fitness _. That's CNGFITNESS _. I'm a trainer. Also, I sell noodles and also hoodies as well and sweatshirts. So get your merch as well too while you're out there.
Big shout out to C1 Studios for allowing us to do our podcast here. Be sure to check out the studio and just stay tuned for what we have coming for the rest of the month. So see you guys in the next segment.